Cold shoulder. Cold shoulder might seem like a harmless way to tell somebody you are very mad at them, but it can destroy people at the core more than you could ever know. This piece that I chose from a book most of you are familiar with, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, by Mark Haddon. The story is about a kid named Christopher who has Asperger's syndrome, living solely with his dad because his mom is dead. The kid is writing a mystery novel about a dead dog that he found on a neighbor's lawn, and he's trying to find out who killed the dog. So later on in the book, his dad has hid the journal that Christopher was writing down all his thoughts and ideas about the investigation. So Christopher is going to look for the journal to find it so he can continue his investigation, and in doing so, find some letters addressed to him from his mother. After reading the letters, Christopher feels very ill, and his father comes home and gets Christopher all cleaned up, and tells him that he was hiding the truth and that his mother is still alive. Also, when he tells Christopher that, he was the person who killed the dog. And both of those together, like a 1-2 punch, had just destroyed the love between Christopher and his father. Christopher makes some decisions and decides he can't trust his father because, 1, his dad lied to him, and 2, it's not safe to be around his dad because his dad killed a dog. So Christopher runs away to his mom, and that's a bunch of the book, but after he arrives there, it's kind of weird living there because his mom's living with some boyfriend. But Christopher's happy because he's away from his dad and with his mom, and he is far away from his dad. But I think his dad finds out through the police because Christopher asked the policeman on the way there. So his dad shows up to the apartment and has a big argument with Christopher's mother, and then walks up to Christopher's room. And then all his dad wants is for Christopher to talk to him and maybe come home with him. But because through a mix of fear and anger, Christopher doesn't say one word to him, which destroys his father. Here's the scene in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime when Christopher is in his mom's shared apartment with their boyfriend, Mr. Shears, and his dad finds out and comes up to the room and tries to get Christopher. And then I woke up because there were people shouting in the flat, and it was 2:31 a.m. And one of those people was Father, and I was frightened. But there wasn't a lock on the door of the spare room. And Father shouted, "I'm talking to her whether you like it or not, and I'm not going to be told what to do by all of you people." And Mother shouted, "Roger, just don't." And Mr. Shears shouted, "I'm not being spoken to like that in my own home." And Father shouted, "I'll talk to you how I damn well like." And Mother shouted, "You have no right to be here." And Father shouted, "No right? No right? He's my fucking son, in case you've forgotten." And Mother shouted, "What in God's name do you think you were playing at, saying all those things to him?" And Father shouted, "What was I playing at? You were the one that bloody left." And Mother shouted, "So you decided just to wipe me out of his life altogether?" And Mr. Shears shouted, "Now let's all just calm down here, shall we?" And Father shouted, "Well, isn't that what you wanted?" And Mother shouted, "I wrote to him every week. And Father shouted, "Wrote to him? What the fuck use is writing to him?" And Mr. Shears shouted, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." And Father shouted, "I cooked his meals, I cleaned his clothes, I looked after him every weekend, I looked after him when he was ill, I took him to the doctor, I worried myself sick every time he wandered off somewhere at night, I went to school every time he got into a fight, and you, what? You wrote him some fucking letters?" And Mother shouted, "And you thought it was okay to tell him that his mother was dead?" And Mr. Shears shouted, "Now is not the time." And Father shouted, "You butt out or all." And Mother shouted, "Ed, for God's sake." And Father shouted, "I'm going to see him, and if you try to stop me." And then Father came into my room, and I was holding my Swiss Army knife with the saw blade out in case he grabbed me. And Mother came into the room as well, and she said, "Don't be Christopher. You will never do anything. You're all right." And Father bent down on his knees to his bed and said, "Christopher." And I'm really, really sorry about everything. About Wellington, about the letters, about making you run away. Never meant. I promise. We'll never do anything like that again. Hey, come on, you know? And he held up his right hand and spread his fingers out in his hand so that I could touch his fingers. But I didn't because I was frightened. And Father said, "Shit, Christopher, please." And there were tears dripping off his face. And no one said anything for a while. father calmed down and we took him out of the flat. And Mother said, Then later in the book, Christopher's dad wants to talk to Christopher again. And because his mom was there asking Christopher, he says when they were telling Christopher that his dad wasn't going to hurt him, Christopher said just a few words to his father. And Christopher, there were just a few random and normal words. But to his father, it was much more than that. And it was the first step on their road to picking up the pieces of the love they once had. My father came round to the house that night, and I was sitting on the sofa watching University Challenge and just answering the science questions. And he stood in the doorway of the living room and he said, "Don't scream, Christopher. I'm not going to hurt you." And Mother was standing behind him, so I didn't scream. Then he came a bit closer and he crouched down like you do with dogs to show that you are not an aggressor. And he said, "I wanted to ask you how the exam went." And Mother said, "Please, Christopher." So I said, "I don't know if I got all the questions right because I was really tired and I hadn't eaten any food, so I couldn't think properly." Then Father nodded and he didn't say anything for a short while. Then he said, "Thank you." And I said, "What for?" And he said, "Just thank you." Then he said, "I'm very proud of you, Christopher, very proud. I'm sure you did really well." And then he went away and I watched the rest of the University